Okay, guys, we are working on this fiero red, blue, gray project, and I'm trying a whole new approach to making the fiero badge. Don't know if you guys can see it clearly. Let's see to zoom in. And I'm going to tell you how I'm doing this, because I'm kind of happy with the way it's coming out. It's really showing off the badge the way it is on, very close to the way it is on the real car. Now, what I did was I took a piece of bare metal foil and I applied it to the badge, cut it out, and then I put some Tamiya panel line accent color into all the recesses. And as it sunk into the recesses and pulled away from the high areas, we have ourselves a full fiero badge on the nose. This is over the engraved badge that's already there. So I was wondering if this would work and give us a good looking badge, and I think it is going to work. Now I'm going to try one more thing and see if it really highlights it. And if it does, then I'm going to be very happy with the result. So we'll be back with one more step in this. Alright guys, I just tried the final step, which was putting some Bondic on the part over the badge to give it that acrylic coating that the real badge has. As you can see the shine in it. But I'm not really crazy with the result, as it appears maybe I didn't give the Tamiya panel line paint enough time to dry, but it appears to have lifted the panel line paint right out. So I'm not really thrilled with that. We're going to have to try that again. This time we'll give everything a chance to really dry. But I do think it's going to work well with the bare metal foil and the Tamiya panel line paint. And you can see it does give it a three-dimensional badge. It rises above the nose of the car. Although I do think the badge might be a little bit out of scale with where it's supposed to be. It looks a little bit larger than it should. But that does kind of look cool. We have a raised badge right on the nose of the car. So that does kind of look cool. So we're going to keep toying with this idea and see if we can't refine it a little bit. Alright guys, I'm going to take you right through the process of making this badge. Really is very simple. We're going to cut out a piece of bare metal foil. Using a new blade. Always make sure you use a new blade for this. Okay. Then we're just going to lay the bare metal foil over the badge. Then we're going to go over that. We're going to burnish it down with a cotton bud, as my British friends like to call them. We call them Q-tips in America. And then we're just going to keep burnishing it down till we see the fiero emblem come through on the foil. See, the fiero emblem is coming right through on the foil. So then we're going to burnish it down a little bit more, and then we're going to cut around the badge very carefully. Make sure we get into all of the recesses. because when we apply our Tamiya panel liner, we want it really to get in there. We want it really getting in between the bare metal foil, the raised and okay, so now just very carefully we're going to cut around it. Now we'll see if we got this correct. Nice, there we go. That's what we're looking for right there. Gonna have to clean up. All right, and here we go. We have, now we're gonna burnish down all the edges. Okay, so now, as you can see, we have our fiero badge, or the chromed part of our fiero badge. Now we're going to add panel line paint. Just get rid of all of the excess, as we only want a little bit in there at a time. Now let's just remove it from where we don't want it. Excellent. All right, guys. I think we have our badge ready to go. You guys can see the Pegasus is in there. You can see the name, the Fiero nameplate. I think this is going to work. Now we may end up giving it 1 or 2 more coats with the panel line paint once the first coat dries, and then we'll be ready for a little bit of clear. Alright guys, so that's how we make the badge. Once we clear it, we'll see our end result. And right now we're going to talk about polishing. We've already painted the body and wet sanded it. So now we're going to start polishing it out. I've done this on quite a few of my videos, but just in case you haven't seen those, and if you haven't, shame on you, go back and watch all of my videos now. We're going to talk about it right here. Now, the method I use for polishing. Now, mind you, this is not the most glamorous part of building a model, as it takes a very long time. And your best bet is to do it with a little drink on the side and maybe watch a movie while you're doing it. But you got to pay attention. Even if you're watching a movie, you got to pay attention because you can really screw this up if you're not careful. So let's talk about how I do this. Now, after I wet sand the paint, and I usually go from a 3,000 grit to a 12,000 grit to smooth the paint out as much as I can. Now, you'll know when you've smoothed it out right, as you don't want to see any dark spots, dark shiny spots. You want a nice, even, dull finish over the paint, or mostly dull. And the higher you go up in grit as you're sanding, this is a 3,000 grit. I start at 3 and I work my way all the way up to 12. You'll start to see the paint just get smoother and smoother, and it'll take on a dull, even sheen the way this does. This one has. And it'll start to get shinier and shinier as you go, because you're making the paint smoother and smoother. Just make sure you don't go through the paint. So once you're done with that, which is tedious in itself, then you're going to start the polishing process. Now, what I like to do is, with this one, the paint laid so smooth and so nice that I'm not going to need to use all 3 polishing compounds, which is our Tamiya Red for the coarse. If you really got some deep scratches or some really rough paint, this stuff works great to smooth it out. Tamiya Blue, which is fine, again, works really great to smooth out the paint after you've gone through, taking out the majority of the roughness. This stuff works fantastic. I love it. And then the finish compound, where this is where the mirror gloss is really going to come out on the body. This is what really brings it to life and makes it pop. So, now, the first thing I do is you can see here, you can see how shiny this is here. This is just after a couple of applications of the Tamiya Blue. And look at the shine on that. Amazing. I mean, the Tamiya products are the best as far as I'm concerned. And you can see how it gets a little bit duller here. I haven't tried it here yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of the Tamiya Blue. Now, remember, this has already been wet sanded from 3 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 12,000 grit sandpaper to really smooth it out. So now we're going to start going at it with a little bit more of the fine, and we're going to show you, I'm going to show you right here on this door panel how you can go from dull to that just by using this. So what I like to do is I take a little compound, I dab it onto, you don't want to use too much because then it gets everywhere, but I dab it onto the part that I am about to polish. And then I'll take it and I use my Tamiya buffing pads, I think they call these. Great tool for working the compound into the paint. Now I did go a little heavy with the compound here, so we're just going to end up doing the whole side of the car, including the gray panels. And we're going to go a little bit more here. Now we're really going to rub this into the paint. Now, The first question you're going to ask is, well, it's going to get into all the crevices and all the door jams. Well, then, after you're done with all your polishing, you're going to take it and you're going to give it a good wash. And what I like to do is I like to use a toothbrush, preferably an old one and not your wife's, because she won't really appreciate that. And I go over it with a toothbrush, really soft bristles so you don't scratch it, and go through all the crevices and panel lines and all, just to get all of the excess polish out. Now, as you can see, just doing it by hand really brought some of the shine back. Now, what I like to do is I have a buffing pad here. Now, the buffing pads also come in many different grits. So what we want to do is we want to use the blue one, as that is for Artemia Blue. And we're going to use that to buff out the body. Now, I use my Keshi rotary tool, which is a cordless low speed being very important, rotary tool. And you're definitely going to want the low speed because you don't want to burn the paint, as that would be bad. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to start running the buffing pad over the paint. Now, in most instances, you can just use one buffing pad. What I like to do, and I find that this really brings the shine out even more while you're buffing, is that I keep the one pad for applying the compound to the paint, and then I use my second pad for going over after applying the compound. And that basically what it does is it cleans the paint off and gets all of the excess residue out of the paint and really shines it up. So we're going to go ahead and polish out this whole side of the car so you guys can see what the difference is when I'm done with just this first application. Now we're going to switch from our applicator to our cleaner. Now, there are going to be times when you want to give it a couple of applications. So I usually like to do 2 or 3 coats of this, always keeping an eye to make sure you're not going to burn through your paint. As you're just looking to polish it out, really smooth everything out. And I'm doing this prior to doing all the black trim, as the black trim is going to be a semi-gloss or matte black as it is on the real car. So we don't want that polished out. Guys, now take a look at that shine. That is amazing. Let me see if I can show you guys. Now this is only the first application. Now we still have to do our fine compound to really make the color pop. But this is an amazing transformation here. So we're going to keep going with this. We're going to finish off the, the finish compound is the one that really going to make it pop. But we're going to finish doing the fine compound all over the rest of the body. And then we'll be back and do the finishing compound, because you guys don't really want to watch me do this same thing over and over again. So we'll be back in a few with the finish. All right, guys. Now we have, after our what word am I looking for? Don't you hate it when that happens? After our application of the fine compound, you can see the shine that we brought back to this thing. It's friggin' amazing. So now, you would think that this is good enough. It's like, wow, this looks really good. Why don't we just leave it alone? Because it can get better. And that's where our finish compound comes in, as that's going to bring out the deep richness of the color. So we're going to apply a little bit of that. And we did a little more than I wanted to. I hate it when that happens. So, guess we're going to be doing this whole side with the finish. You'll notice the finish compound is much smoother than the other compound. Much more liquidy, liquidated, liquidier. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. But it is a much smoother compound than the fine. And it's going to give us our final polish on the paint. Now, I did apply quite a bit more than I had intended to. So we're going to go ahead and give this a little zing with the machine. And see how it brings our color out. Again, you're going to be constantly moving, never staying in one spot too long, so that you don't burn the paint out. And if you notice, I'm using my gray pads now, which are the finishing pads. A little bit softer than the blue. You always got to be mindful of the edges when you're doing this. Now, this Keshi rotary tool is a fantastic tool, but its battery life is limited. There we go. I can see it working already. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm just going to shut up right now and let the magic happen. Okay, guys, take a look at that. Now that is what the Tamiya finishing compound does for the paint. Unbelievable. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of it and be back with the end result. Alright, guys, and here it is, fully polished out. You can see the reflections in it are amazing. These Tamiya products really work. Great.
I don't know if I'd settle the case or agree to a bribe. Did she sign the plea offer? Yeah. Then hey.
You can see all the reflections in it. So I'm very, very happy with the way this is turning out. Now that we have the preliminary polishing out, we're going to get started on doing all of our black trim.
It does indeed. Which leads us to our next.
Okay guys, this is the nose after clear coating with the badge in place. You can see that it worked beautifully. I'm very happy with the way this has turned out. Just have to do a little bit of wet sanding to get a little bit of dirt. You can see right there, there's a little bit of something in the paint, in the clear coat there. But other than that, it came out flawless. And the badge, let's see if we can get it. Can we zoom in on that? Can you zoom in on that? I guess that's what we're going to get. You can see the badge, you can see the Pegasus in there. You can actually read the name Fiero in there. And came out fantastic. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. On the next video, we're going to continue with the body work. We're starting the black trim, which involves more of everybody's favorite part of the hobby, masking. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one.